Welcome to this session. We will be talking about Docker Compose. I'm Guillaume Lours, a senior software engineer at Docker. I'm working in the environment team. So we are in charge of Docker dev environment. I don't know if you know this new technology we are developing. And of course, Docker Compose.
My name is Antonio, and I'm from Microsoft. I joined Microsoft not long ago on Java on Azure. So we will be talking about Docker and the cloud. By the way, talking about Docker and the cloud, who uses Docker? Rancher?
I'm not so happy.
Podman? Okay, so mostly Docker. Docker Compose, who already uses Docker Compose? Oh, okay. So what are you doing here? And because we're going to talk about the cloud, who deploys stuff in the cloud? Well, AWS, Azure, GCP. And for those of you who deploy stuff on the cloud, do you deploy it with Kubernetes? Do you deploy it with Docker Compose? Oh, none. Interesting.
Yeah.
So you are the right place. Oh, by the way, who knows Minecraft? Who has Minecraft right now on the machine? Okay, so be ready. We might be playing later
bit, yeah.
Minecraft all together if the demo goes well.
Yeah. But before starting with that, I think we can just do a little bit of history, especially about Compose, because there is a lot of misunderstanding around the version and stuff like that. So let's demystify that and fix the issue right now. So in 2014, Docker acquires Orca, which was developing a tool called Fig. Fig was a simple software in Python, developed in Python. And the idea is just so simple but so powerful. Remember at that time, you have to write your Docker run command with all your parameters in one line, and it takes so much time, and it was so error prone and stuff like that. So what Fig did at that time was just to let you write all your attributes you want to use during your Docker run command. So you start with the name of your container, the name of the image, and then you have been able to add all the attributes you will use for running your container. So, for example, adding a port, defining some variable and stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, just so simple but so useful on a daily basis. And 6 months later, Fig was released with the Docker brand as Compose. So that's the real start of the history for us. At the beginning of 2016, there is a couple of changes inside Compose, especially because Fig was focused on the container and Compose was designed to be a local orchestrator. So we need more higher level abstraction. That was a time where services, volumes, and networks were introduced inside the Compose file. That means something else also. That was the introduction of the compatibility matrix. So if you use Compose for years now, maybe you already know that famous page of the documentation, which lets you know which version of the Compose file format you can use with a specific version of the engine. And so yeah, that's the start of the trouble, in fact. okay? Starting to have a different version file, not working with a specific version of the engine, and yeah. But 1 year later, things going worse. For a good news at the beginning, Docker was starting and launching Swarm, and the team behind Swarm was so in love with the Compose file format that decided to use it for their tool. But as you can imagine, that's not the same using and deploying locally and in the cloud. So we have to introduce a new file format, and that was the shift between people using Compose locally and the one using the file format to deploy into the cloud. So at that point, people start saying that Compose v2, the file format, is for local development, and the file format in version 3 is only for the cloud. That's not really true. But yeah, and what does it mean really? So let's see with a simple example. Okay, so here you have, maybe it's not big enough. Okay. So we have a simple Compose file with 3 services. One is just a proxy during the routing with the backend. We have here a Postgre database with a health check condition that lets know the other container inside the stack know when the database is really up and ready. And we have a backend that is using the database and wait for a specific condition of the database. So be sure that the database is really healthy before starting, okay? Why? Maybe just because the backend is injecting some data at the beginning or doing some database migration at startup or stuff like that, okay? But you need that the database is ready before starting. So what does it mean if we are running that with Docker Compose v1? So I will be using, is it big enough? Not sure I can zoom on that, yeah, on that one. So I will be using a specific binary of Compose v1 just because I don't want to change my local configuration. I'm working every day on Compose v2 and I don't want to forget that on Monday morning. So I will just do a Docker Compose up, in fact, to start this stack. So the database is ready. We can start everything. And we can check that we can reach our backend and see that we get the data from the database, okay? Quite simple. So now we will be doing the same, okay? Oh, I forgot to mention something really specific. You can see that we say that the file version was a 3.9, okay? So dedicated for cloud. So let's do that with the docker stack command, which is the command line to deploy application on Swarm and Cube also. I should also specify the Compose file I will be using. So I say that I want to use this Compose file, and I just need to give a name to that stack. And what happened, I don't know if you see correctly, but there is an error message saying that the depends on attribute is not well formatted. Swarm is expected, the stack command at least is expected a list, and we have something more defined than just a list with a condition. So what does it mean? It means that we specifically say that we want to use a 3.9 version of the Compose file because I removed the check of my IDE. I didn't get any notification that I can't use the condition with the depends on attribute. And so I'm not able to start this thank you, Antonio. and so, yeah, so we defined that we want to use a dedicated version of the compose file. Because I removed my IDE check, I didn't see that I use a condition I can't use. So I can use and define a version and use what attribute I want inside the file, in fact. And at the end, I'm not able to run the same simple compose file locally and on Swarm. So let's back there. So you imagine it's just a simple part of all the mismatch we have between the version 2, the version 3, the different runtime we can use at that time to run Docker Compose stacks. So we started a partnership with Microsoft and Amazon to deploy Compose application directly into the cloud. And during all this work, we decided to split the file format from the binary. So we announced the Compose specification, and we use that announcement to remove the file format issue. There is no more file format. No, you can just use all the attribute, and the runtime will say if it supported the attribute or not. But will not break like before, just say, OK, I'm not able to use that attribute specifically, so just running as usual. And that was also a time for us to work on Go tooling around Compose, especially a file parser in Go to parse Compose file. So that way, we are just able to release a new version of Compose, in fact, in Golang. And that's something I will explain later, because that was really important for us. So yeah, in August 2020, we released the first, there was the first release candidate of Compose v2. So yeah, Compose v2, file format v2, file format v3. So when people are starting to open issue in Compose, they are saying, when we ask them, what is your version of Compose? They say, I'm using Compose version 3.7. There is no version 3.7. There is only Compose v1, Compose v2, and there is different file formats. So that's why you really want to get out from using this file format, okay? And last April, we just announced that the general availability of Compose v2, and also, something you have to keep in mind, the end of life of Compose v1. So currently, we are not doing anything on Compose v1, just security fix, if there is any. And you may expect next April that we will remove completely the ability to open any issue on Compose v1 and stuff like that. We won't support it anymore. OK, so that's the story. I hope it's clear now for everyone that we don't need the Compose file format anymore. That's something that just blow mind of a lot of users. You just use Compose v2 and just enjoy your developer experience with Compose. So why doing a specification around Compose? So as I mentioned previously, that was the opportunity to split the file format from the runtime. I also forget to mention that the Compose specification is part of the CNCF Foundation. So that's not something that rely only on Docker. We are in Microsoft Azure team and Amazon Web Service team are involved, and also some personal contributor also. the idea is to be cloud agnostic, so there is no, in the Compose specification, no attribute linked to a specific cloud provider at all. And we want to keep that like that. That doesn't mean that the cloud provider can't define a custom field for their need. So they can use a specific type of field inside the Compose specification to add dedicated attributes. But you just have to know that if you see this kind of file, you may expect that it won't work on a different cloud provider. And we already have a reference implementation with Compose. And as I mentioned, we developed Compose Go that allow you to embed this library inside your Go code to parse and verify that a Compose file is valid and respect the specification. So how does it work when you want to propose a modification or a new feature inside the Compose specification? You just have to go to the Compose spec repository, which is Compose spec /Compose spec on GitHub. There is also a website, Compose Specification -spec.io. Compose-specification.io. I think we have the reference at the end of the talk. You can, first, you need to check if there is already an existing issue addressing the same problem you want to ask. Just because we have a ton of time, the same need explained, and we just want to aggregate everything at one place. So if you find something similar to your need, just append what you want exactly, and if it's differ a little bit, just explain why, and that way we can propose a solution to address all the use cases. Something also you can do is, so if there is no issue addressing your point, you can just open a new proposal and follow the template just to have something really clear. And if you can, just propose the modification of the specification inside the pull request that you can link with the issue. That way, we can start to have a real conversation based on concrete stuff. And after that, you have to wait for maintainer to approve. As you may expect, we are all involved in different stuff and projects, so it may take a bit of time to get an approval. Or to have a real start of discussion about your demand. Okay. Why we rewrite Compose in Go? You may know that Golang is used for most of the products at Docker. Because Compose was based on Fig, which was written in Python, that was so painful to backport security fix or add a new, embed a new feature coming from the engine or the build team inside Compose. We have to rewrite everything in Python, double check that it works as expected and stuff like that. So now we can really include the new version of BuildX, of the CLI, the engine, very quickly inside Compose and be able to do a release the same day as the user if we have a serious security fix or stuff like that. So that's really, really cool. And also, something that you maybe don't know, but for example, a few months ago, Compose was still using its own process to send signal to the container. And you have some differences between doing a Control-C with your container that was running with Docker command line directly and Compose. So that was weird. And now we just use the way, just call the API of the CLI to stop the container the same way. And as already mentioned, that was the opportunity to leave the Compose file format. So that's it. That's over for the blah blah. Let's go to the demo. What's new? will be focus on what we have done during the last couple of months. So we were completely focused on the build section at that point. So you will see a lot of improvement on how you can build your images. Okay. So the first one is you can already use secrets at runtime, but a lot of people were asking to be able to embed secrets during build time. So what we did is we just add a new secret attribute inside the Compose specification in the build context. So you are now able to use secret you define as usual, so file or environment variable directly at build time. So in this example, I will use, why is it so small? Okay. So in this example, we will create two expected files, one for the secret coming from the file and the other one coming from the variable, in a expected file in the temp directory. We will use the mount command to mount a secret, give the secret ID, and then put everything inside another file called actual, and we will just do a diff between the two. Okay. So I don't remember the name of my variable. Sorry, some secret. Okay. So let's do that. I will put the message expected in the some secret on variable, and then just do a docker compose build. I will use a progress plane just to avoid buildx to squash all the logs at the end, and the no cache option to just show you that it will build without any cache at the moment and be sure that it's doing what we expect. So it should be really fast because I have everything there, and we should have build success at the end. Okay, yeah, I forgot that. No, we don't install anything. What happened? It's so long. Okay, my bad. That's me. I'm not on the right directory. Yeah, good. Bad response for the Docker engine. Oh. No. Are you killing me? Docker desktop? Oh. Okay. I really need to restart Docker desktop. So let's do that. I will use a secret command in front of you. Oh. You don't have that one on your side. Okay, let's restart Docker desktop. So maybe during that time, what I can show you is that we introduce also a small command. So as you may notice, I use Docker space compose because compose was now available as a plugin of the CLI. So you don't need the dash anymore. It's directly available with the CLI. And you can use a Docker ls, which is a list command to let you know all the compose stacks that are running on your laptop. Okay, so and because the command responds, so I can now show you the real demo. So yeah, it build. It will be more faster because that's not the same stack as previously, and we should see that everything is okay. Importing Docker. Okay, that's fine. Let's do the same, but we will introduce a different secret, in fact, for the variable. And you may as expected, we can see that it was expecting to have this is my secret from another variable and get where you will leak my secret. So that's the way you can use now a secret at build time, just using the secret attribute and pass as you wish a file or another variable. Okay. Now SSH. So I will speed just a little bit. On the SSH part, you can use this in the same way. Yeah, forgot he won't automatically change the font for me. So you can use the SSH attribute and pass your key directly, a list of key directly in the build section. Okay. So what will happen? I have a public and a private key there. I have Docker file that will be copying the public key, and I will use a mount type SSH to mount the private key and just do a diff to check that I will be using the same, the private key is matching the public one. Okay, so compose KeyML build. No cache also, and explain progress to see everything. So as you can imagine, we don't have any issue. Just to show you that I didn't cheat at all, I will change the public key there. Just replace a B by a D by a E, and rerun the command. And yeah, we have the issue. We detected that we are waiting for A, B, and we got just 5E in a row, okay? So you can use SSH like that, but there is something more interesting with SSH. What you want to do usually is, so here the compose file. Nothing at all. I just want to keep the name of the container, of the image. So there is nothing inside this one, but in the Docker file, what we will do is adding the OpenSSH client, Git. We will create a .ssh directory and add GitHub as a known host, and we will clone something from a secret private repo inside the container. And when we will run the container, we should see the list of the file inside the repo. So let's see what inside this directory. Nothing really special, just empty file, okay, but just to show you how it works. So if I just do a Docker compose build no cache progress plain, that will use a default compose YAML file, and that should build the image. So it takes a little bit of time because we need to install OpenSSH and a Git client. Failed to solve. Ah, yeah. Why? I don't remember the command. I run this demo so much time. Okay, maybe I already have the image available and I will just do the Docker run. So it should list the image, but as you can see, I don't know what I did. Okay, but just to move forward, let me know, just be sure that you can use the SSH client to clone stuff from GitHub or connect to your server with SSH and get some stuff, or do some stuff with your server and so on. And the last one will be the multi-arch. Oh, yeah, I know why. The same issue as previously. No, 02. Right. Up. Let's go quickly. That's, I'm like doing a demo in Zoom, you know? It's always slower than usual. Okay, Git is installing. No issue to, yeah, there is also an issue. Okay, but I don't get why, but that's fine. If I run the image, okay, no way. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's do the multi-arch one. So now that's something we just released a couple of weeks ago. You are able to add a platform on the build step, and you should be able to do multi-arch build with Docker Compose. So here we have 3 services, service A, B, C. The service A and C will just build AMD64 and ARM64 images. The service B will build Linux 386 and an ARM1, okay? And in the Docker file, what we have, it's only using the target platform, so that the target we want to address, and the build one, which is currently my Mac M1, and the service name just to know which service is building, okay? So Docker Compose build no cache with the progress plan. And we should see, that's so slow. Come on. Really. Like in a Zoom session, definitely. Okay, here we go. You can see that the service is building for ARM64 from an ARM64 machine, but also the service is also building an AMD64 images. Everything will be built from an ARM61, which is my machine, okay? So now you are able to build multi-arch images directly from Compose. So that's cool. But, oh yeah, more. So we also add copy command, so you are not able to, in both way, copy file from the host to the container, and from the container to services to the host. You can also specify an index if you want only to target one container when you copy from the host to the container to the services container, and also if you want to take a file from a specific container of a service to copy to the host. I show you the ls command. The other one is the project usage of project name, which is quite cool because where is my Docker desktop? He is chucking at me. Oh, ready. For example, I have old stack there. I remove all the compose file and stuff like that. And when I want to trash it in Docker desktop, I can't. Okay. So that's something we fixed recently. And you can just use Docker Compose -p. The project was called NOP. And I can do a down. And come on. Tada! It's not there anymore. And that will be available inside Docker Desktop, so you will be able, in a couple of days, because the next release is coming soon, be able to not have any zombie Compose instance anymore in Docker Desktop. Yep. That's cool, but Antonio, I have something for you. You are a cloud expert?
Challenge accepted.
You don't know what I want. I usually run a Minecraft server from my local machine, but that's annoying me because when I close my laptop, all my friends say, "Hey, you close the instance. You're not alone, guy." Okay, and is it possible to do the same in the cloud? So let me show you quickly. Up. I have a Minecraft server, you know. I just define some environment variable just to say that it's running from Compose, of course. And I just define a volume to store all the data, okay? And if I do that, it will be starting. I should go there. I need to take the port because I always forget which port it will be using. So if I had a server, I can do that. Localhost. And yeah, my server is ready and I play. Can you do the same for me? But I just want to keep my instance in the cloud just to be sure that I won't trash the party of my friend.
Well, how would you deploy something like that in the cloud? Kubernetes. No, I'm joking. So what I'm going to do now is take this Docker file, slightly change it, and deploy it on Azure. On Azure, but it could have been AWS. I'm not here to sell you Azure, just to show you how it works.
But go to the booth, you can have coupons.
Yes. So I will execute the commands first because, of course, as you can imagine, it's going to deploy that in the cloud, so it's going to take a few seconds. So I'm going to execute a few commands, explain you a little bit what I'm doing, and then show you the Compose file and what's happening in the cloud. And hopefully, Guillaume will be able to use my server deployed on the cloud. And if you have Minecraft up and ready, I will give you the IP address, and you can join and
play with me.
Yeah. So, remember that I need to deploy a Compose file in Azure. So the first thing I do is log in into Azure. And as you can see, I'm using the Docker. I'm going Docker login Azure. So in Azure, you have two authentication, etc., etc. So it just, goes to the browser. I've set my password, I've set my PIN, etc. So, login to Azure can be a bit complex, so it does that for me. Then, if you know Azure, I need to create a group. So that's very Azure specific. What is a group? It's a bucket. Okay, I define a group, I give it a name, RG, resource group, Minecraft. And what I'm doing is just a bucket, and I'm going to put stuff in. So I'm going to put the Minecraft Docker image. I could have put a database, Kafka, whatever. So think of a resource group just as a bucket, nothing special. What's interesting then is I will create a Docker context. So here I'm going Docker context create and ACI, and I will explain you what ACI is Azure Container Instance, and I will explain you what that is, and I give it a name.
You can do the same with ECS, which is the same product on the Amazon side.
So Docker context create ACI, and I give it a name. And now it's logging into Azure and going, okay, so you want me to create an Azure context. What subscription? So I can choose multiple subscription. That's mine, Antonio. And then remember that I've created a resource group. So here it gives me a few resource groups. I've just created the RG Minecraft DevOps. So I'm using that. So now he's logged into Azure. He knows which subscription, which resource group. And I do a Docker Compose up.
No, you have to use your context before.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I have several contexts, and I'm on the default context, so yeah.
So what does it mean? It means that you say to the Docker CLI that you want to use a remote engine, which will be in the Azure group defined by Antonio.
And now I do a Docker Compose -f because I'm giving it a file. I'm giving it a project name like Guillaume, explained. it's called Minecraft, and up. So it's really a Docker Compose up. Now it's going to take a few seconds. So this YAML file is slightly different than the one that Guillaume showed. It's the same image, okay? Same port, same everything. Error. Oh, I can't believe that.
We forgot to pray demogod before. That's our fault. Yeah.
I've done that 10 times. Well, the thing is, if the network is a bit flaky,
Yeah.
damn.
Let's use the backup
Okay.
one.
Yeah. So what it does is the Minecraft server needs a file system, and on the YAML file of Guillaume, the file system is just the local. But when you are on the cloud, is different. So in Amazon, it will be S3. In Azure, it's storage. So here I'm saying, well, the volume, I need a driver. So here you have extension points. I'm saying it's an Azure file. And I give it a share name and a storage account name. So same YAML file, but with some specific stuff. So what does this do? If I go to the Azure portal, and well, the deployment fell. I don't know why. So I had a backup. There's always a backup plan. So as I said, a resource group is just a bucket with stuff. And what's interesting is, remember that Minecraft server needs a storage. So it's actually here. And here I can go and show you the file system. So for those of you who know Minecraft, these are all the Minecraft files. So when you deploy, you told it, look, the file system is over there. It's an Azure storage, and it will just do its thing and store the files. So the file system, and also the Docker image, the Docker container. So I gave it the name Minecraft. So here I'm inside the container, and I can even see the logs. So again, for those of you who know Minecraft, first he needs to prepare the world, etc., etc., and then it's ready. Okay, so I just did a Docker Compose up, and it pushed everything to Azure, giving a subscription, logging in, and a specific context. So to show you it works, and so those of you who have a Minecraft can play with us, this container has an IP address. So this one, 20.232.230.52. So Guillaume now will put this IP address with the port. So if you have Minecraft, and if you can put this IP address, and the port number is 25, 25. Well, it's actually in the logs, so let me show you the logs. So if you want to join,
25.56.5.
We should see, Tob X joined the game.
Just
Tob X,
leave me a place.
Yeah, good, thanks. So someone has joined the game faster than you.
Yeah, because I'm waiting, to show people how I can connect to your server. That's why.
Now you're going to lose Minecraft. So just before I give just to show you that at the moment, Guillaume talked a lot about Microsoft and AWS. So on the Azure integration side of it, I'm doing ACI, so Azure Container Instance. I just pushed one instance. So that's where the Docker Compose is supported. And also what we call Azure Container Apps. It's quite new, and you can deploy multiple containers. And on AWS, there's something called Elastic Container Service, ECS. So that's the integration that exists today with the cloud providers and Compose. So let's play Minecraft.
Yeah.
Other people have joined. Let me look at the logs.
The port is.
The port is, sorry.
I think that's the default one.
Yeah, the default is 25.
Come on.
25565. 25565.
What happened? That's the day. Seriously.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that's fine. Let's go back. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure I can zoom, but as you can see, we prepare
the backup plan.
The backend plan. So I already have the Antonio Minecraft server configured. I just can join and maybe find someone into this world. Okay, hey, come on. Yeah, that was what I expected.
That wasn't the plan.
Okay. Okay, you will be better than I am. Okay, fine. Perfect. That was the best demo we did.
So
today.
and I saw Guillaume joining, and I saw Guillaume losing. Guillaume Lours was slain by zombie. Slain? Well, killed, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. What you should just remember if you, for next Monday and to start working with Compose on a cloud provider, just remember that you don't need the version anymore. Everything is coming from the Compose specification. That you should use Compose v2 as Compose v1 is end of life, and that way we can collect all the maybe bugs still existing. We don't have any info at the moment. Using Compose v2 will provide you a more reliable and not especially reliable, but more line experience than the one you have with Docker CLI at the moment. And just a side effect of implementing the new version of Compose in Go was that we have an implementation that is faster than the Python one. That's not really important, just because most of the time is spent creating the container and stuff like that. So you won't see a huge difference, but just to let you know. On the cloud side, Antonio.
Yeah, well, as I said, Microsoft and AWS are part of the Compose specification. So, the idea is to support 100% of the spec one day, which is not the case now. We have, kind of a compatibility matrix, and which cloud provider implements which part of the Compose file and do not implement part of it. But really, Microsoft and AWS are pushing hard. The GCP, there is some stuff, but it looks like it's not official, and they are not part of the spec. And so not all the Compose features are implemented yet by both Microsoft and AWS. But as you can see, from most of the common cases, it's quite handy to take a Compose file, push it in the cloud, bang, runs. Except that time.
Some references. So the website for the Compose specification is compose-spec.io. There is a blog post to explain you how you can run your Minecraft server to the cloud. And also, as Antonio just mentioned, we have specific documentation for ECS and ACI to see what is available or not. So you can find that at docs.docker.com/cloud/ACI integration and ECS integration. Okay? And we are out of time. Just yeah. Maybe we can take one question.
Yeah, if there's one question.
And before you leave, we have some Docker stickers available on the table.
Any question? Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Should I use Kubernetes or Docker Compose now?
You know my opinion.
Thank you.
No, it really depends of your need. If you want just to have small stuff, just use Compose. It will be so much easier. Okay.
Thank you.